Hey guys, good morning. So today I want to talk about overhead, and overhead is basically a business term for business expenses. So like what you pay every week or every month or once a year, whatever that number is. So basically I'm going to talk about how much money does it cost for me to run my business of this size. I just have a small office and I'm at this stage in my business, right? If you guys have seen my other videos. So I have three topics that relate to this. So I'm gonna talk about baseline costs, so like stuff that's like non-negotiable, what I pay for every month. And then I have like stuff that is kind of negotiable, like variables, and I'll explain what that means. And then I have stuff for you guys to know, like if you're starting out, this might be like something that you want to know, like what do I exactly need, what's the most important. So yeah, we're gonna get started with baseline costs. So with this is the first big thing with it is the office space, right? And that costs me $6.99 a month. So that's rent. And I'm not really sure how much other people pay for office spaces around the United States, but I think it's a pretty good deal for this kind of space. And the cool thing is that when I used to live in my studio apartment where I ran my business, I actually paid the same amount of money. So when I transferred over, mentally in my head, nothing really changed. I'm still paying that amount, and then the next thing I have is the Wi-Fi. So recently I got Wi-Fi here, and that costs $54.95 a month. And I have a Wi-Fi router here, so it was already hooked up, but I used the Xfinity. They had like 30-day passes for it. I was like, I'll try that. So I've been doing that and it's been working out. I might switch to even better internet later, but that costs more and all that. And you want to keep your overhead low. So that's kind of the goal. And I'll write that down right here. So that's just business expenses, just so you guys know. And then the next thing I have that's associated with the rent is the electric bill for here, and that is about $25 a month. It can go up and down depending on how much you use the space. Like if I was here full time, it'd probably double that, I would guess. So these two are kind of like linked in a way, because when you lease or rent a space, you are signing up for electric bill. That's like an automatic. Usually they pay for like the sewage and garbage and the water whenever you go to a space. Like that's usually what they pay for, unless you outright own the area. Obviously you have to pay for everything. And then we have a big one. This is a big cost, but this one is super important. This is the Adobe subscription. That costs about $50 a month. But in my case, I pay $599 a year for that. And the reason why is because when I signed up for Adobe a long time ago, I didn't want it to be a monthly payment. I just wanted to pay the lump sum every year, and I've kind of stuck with that. So I'm used to it. I know some of you guys, like a lot of designers, they might have a bootleg version of that. So you're probably running on old software and it probably sucks or whatever. I don't recommend that, but if you're trying to stay like small and you're just trying to get stuff started, that's fine. I just pay for it, so I have the new version. I'm not pirating it or anything, and it gets renewed every year. And when you're a graphic designer, a business, like that's something that you kind of need to do. You can't really go around that. You could outright buy the software. It costs a lot of money, and then you're stuck with that version. But I think it's better to just pay for it and do it legally, and you get the new software every year if they update it, And then we have the Shopify. That is the next one. So you guys, I always recommend Shopify because it's just such a nice platform. It has everything on there. You don't really need to fumble around as much. You just need to do tweaking and kind of make it fit for your personal brand, right? There's other websites like Big Cartel and Squarespace and stuff like that, but I recommend Shopify. Like, they also have other plans. They have like a $79 plan and then like a $100 something plan. Those are for like multi-million-dollar companies, and then I think they even have plans that are like $1,000, something like that, where it's like crazy levels. Obviously, I'm not at that point yet, but probably next year I would be switching to like the higher level plan, because there's like a threshold, with what you can do with this one and sales and all that stuff. But I haven't really looked into it because I've been running this with my brand. It's been going well. So if you're at this level or below, don't worry about any of that. Then we have Apple iCloud, and this is something that I use that's really helpful because it's only 99 cents too. I have a lot of photos on my phone, which I post on my Pinterest and my Instagram, and I have tons of videos. So those get uploaded automatically to my iCloud account, so my storage doesn't run low on my phone. I'm not fumbling around with it. Actually, I think I might have to upgrade it because it's getting full, or I have to bite the bullet and take an hour and just clean up my phone for the year. I might have to do that. So that's very useful to have. Then I have G Suite, and that's $13.02. But for G Suite, that is 2 accounts. I'm paying for 2 email accounts. So when you have a business, you want a business email, and Google gets you set up with that. You don't want like a @yahoo.com or @gmail.com for your business. You need a legitimate website and business name for that. So mine is @Rubashka or Rubashka @Rubashka.co, and I also have customer support @Rubashka.co. That's the second email. Second email is not being utilized really right now because I still need to settle that up and stuff. But Michael, he works for me. He has that email, and he's going to be handling customer support in the near future, so that's set up for him. The last thing I really pay for is domains, and that's $25. And well, hold up a second. Really, what it is $375 a month for domains. But I don't pay $375 a month. With domains, you don't really pay monthly, you pay a lump sum every year, and that lump sum is a very small amount. So I pay $25 and $19.99 for that for 2 domains. I own Rubashka.us and Rubashka.co. When you have a clothing business, you need a legitimate website name. Like, it's not gonna look good if you have like BigCartel.com or MyShopify.com, because I used to have like my Shopify for an entire year. It was very messy looking. It didn't look professional. So, I mean, if you can't find like $20 somewhere, like if you can't work an hour or 2 and earn that for a year of a domain, you might have bigger problems, and like like you need to think like bigger than that, like just get the domain and use it, right? You don't want to have that. I did have it for a year and it sucked. It probably ruined my brand quality in the eyes of people when I was starting out, but that's what it was. So I just recommend just get the domain. Don't be a baby about it. So, and yeah, like I said, I don't pay monthly. I just pay a lump sum every year for that, and that gets auto renewed. Most of these things are on autopilot, the bills. In general, if you want to get stuff done and not fumble around doing stupid work, don't be paying this stuff every month. Don't be going through your debit card and doing that stuff. Have everything on auto pay. Go work a little bit and then get that stuff. Get some money in your account for that, right? So then this adds up to $876.70. So that's basically like before any profit, this is how much I have to pay, like a baseline cost in the business, right? And actually, before I got into the office, it used to be much smaller than that, like because I didn't really count some of these things in my business, like rent. I was in the studio apartment, so I didn't count that towards my business, even though I kind of probably could have. So here's the cost. And then now let's talk about negotiables or like variables in the business, right? Variables. So this could be, and this is still overhead, and this is what I do. So that could be additional, I hope I'm not blocking this, additional labor. Another negotiable in my business is advertising, so ads. I actually spend a lot of money on ads, and that's how I grew my business pretty quickly in the past 6 months. But that kind of fluctuates, you know. And right now, my ad budget is pretty low because I've been having some inventory issues and I need to figure that out. The print shop has been backed up behind a little bit. We also have damages, but that one's kind of weird because you have to assume a lot of stuff is getting damaged every month. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how this works, but the bigger the company you are, you know, you might have stuff that's getting damaged every month or whatever, and you have to fix it, right? And then we have supplies. This one is also like, I do buy supplies every month actually, but it fluctuates. It's a variable because some months I might be buying, like I have to buy 1,000 poly bags to put t-shirts in, right? I don't buy that every month. I might buy that like every 2 or 3 months, right? And then shipping labels, I buy that every month, right? So that's a variable. The last thing I want to talk about is costs that you might have and that stuff that I started out with and stuff that's non-negotiable, right? So I think for this, well, I'm gonna kind of go down this list and make notes right here with it too. So if you are starting out and you live with your parents or you have roommates or something, rent is not really something that you need to worry about as much, because I started out at my parents' house and then I moved to a studio, and that didn't really count as me paying rent towards the business. So that is not something that you necessarily need to worry about if you're like 16 or 18 or 20, you're still living with your parents or you have roommates or whatever. That also goes on with Wi-Fi. If you're smart and you're dedicated, you probably have a phone bill. So that one is kind of like a phone, right? When I started out, I didn't pay any Wi-Fi. I was using my hotspot on my phone. So my phone bill was almost like a business bill in a sense, and that could be in your position. Or if you're just smart and dedicated, like I said, you could be at a coffee shop or at the library using free Wi-Fi to work on your business, bring a laptop and work on it there, so you don't have to pay for that. The electric bill, that's gone. Like I said, if you live with roommates or you rent at home, then that's not a problem. I'll write that down. Live at home, roommates. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are in that position. It's difficult to like get to an office space and maintain all that. Then you have Adobe. That is, you don't need that. Like I said, if you have a pirated version or if you buy it, or actually if you go to college, you can use, sometimes they let you use their software for free, you know? So that's kind of like a check and a plus. I would say you kind of need to lean more towards the check, and that's just something that you're gonna have to bite the bullet on and get. Then we have Shopify. That's definitely needed, but like I said, you could be using Big Cartel, and although you can't have your own domain with the free version, you can use the free version if you are just so broke and poor and whatnot. And Shopify actually also has a free month. So if you do a launch, you can get Shopify for a month for free and not pay for that, right? And that can help you get going. That's why I put the checkmark NX. iCloud, you don't need that. If you, like I said, if you don't have a bunch of photos stuff on your phone, you don't need to worry about that. G Suite, that's kind of like, if you want to be more professional, you do need that. You do need a business account email, so that is kind of important. And then domains, that's important as well. You do need a domain. Like, I just recommend it. Don't go around that and get a domain. So out of all this, like, you really need like the Adobe. You do need a place where you have your website, like Shopify or Squarespace or whatever, G Suite, and a domain. So really, if you're starting out, you need to keep your overhead super low. And if you can do that and reinvest profits back into the business, you can grow it and things will work smoothly. So for a year or two, go really lean and don't do all of this. This is as you grow. So in general, when I'm gonna write this down for you, as your business grows, that means that your overhead will also grow. So obviously, a company like Apple, their overhead I think is like $10 billion or something like that, because they have like hundreds of thousands of employees and they have corporate headquarters and warehouses and all this stuff all over the world. And actually, I learned this from Bill Gates. So he learned a strategy. I think he learned this from Warren Buffett. He said that you should save an entire year's worth of expenses so it could like mentally free you from being worried about business. Like, you can go a whole year without profit, and if you have that money saved up, you can cover the expenses, the overhead of the business. And the reason why this number is so important to me when I found this out like last month is because my third goal of the year is to save an entire year's worth of business expenses, because I want that like huge mental buffer so I can take bigger risks and not worry about like covering anything, right? Not that I do, like everything is covered and I'm doing fine, but my goal right now by the end of the year is to save this times 12. So for the year 2021, I want to just make huge leaps and bounds in my business, and that's my goal right now. The last thing of advice, like I said, try to keep your overhead as minimal as possible. That's what I did starting out, and that's what every company should do. All of these right now is stuff that I need and I use, and that's like not gonna change for me. This is my overhead right now. So make sure that you really know what you're spending your money on. Be careful with it when you're starting out, and as you grow, your overhead will grow, but try to keep it minimal. Even if you're a big company, that doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of overhead that's unnecessary. That's what businesses do. Like when there's recession stuff, they start cutting stuff. And it's funny because I know people that have a business and they like cut a bunch of employees, and then they realize, oh, we're actually doing the same or more amount of work with less employees. So in that case, they had too much overhead to begin with and they weren't being as productive. So really strategize that and understand that. I hope you guys like this video. This is how much money it costs for me to run my business at this point in time in July 2020. I will probably make another video in the future if this ever changes, but for now, that's what it is. I hope you guys like this video and hope you got a lot out of it. Thanks, guys.